Welcome to the second episode of Upcoming Indie Games, where I give shout out to indie games that are currently in development and may pique your interest. If you are interested in any of these games, then I recommend you add them to your wish list and follow their social media pages. I will leave links in the description down below. Also, every game I mention in this episode does have a playable demo on Steam if you wanted to give yourself a sneak peek before the final project releases. Umbral Core is a 2.5D fighting game by A Few Round Games. The two big selling points for Umbral Core are its gothic art style and rollback netcode. If you are a fighting game enthusiast, then you know the importance of rollback netcode. Umbral Core does have a Patreon if you wish to financially help out the developers, and you will also be rewarded with a playable build. I'll leave a link to their Patreon page in the description. Duel Corp is a Dark Souls inspired RPG by Dream Effect Entertainment. Visually, this game looks great. I describe it as a 3D version of Octopath Traveler. But I'm not gonna lie, the combat does have a steep learning curve and it may not be to everyone's cup of tea. In Duel Corp, you have 3 attack buttons: swing right, swing left, and an overhead. You also have 3 parries: right, left, and above. There are plenty of times where this game feels more like rock, paper, scissors. Although this is an action RPG, you want to be more methodical with how you approach fights. If the enemy swings right, you want to block on your left. If the enemy blocks on their right, you want to swing left. Duel Corp has had multiple playtests throughout March of 2023, and there is a possibility of more opportunities in the future. Cynthia, hidden in Moonshadow, is an action-adventure game by Cynthia Games. Due to the visuals and overall slower pace of the game, I would describe Cynthia, hidden in the Moonshadow, as a pseudo-walking simulator. Other than taking a stroll to appreciate the landscape and colors, this game also includes a crafting system, stealth, and puzzles. I'm going to take a guess that there will be less emphasis on combat since you have the option to sneak past enemies and the players having a finite number of arrows that you will also need for puzzle solving. Cynthia, Hidden in the Moonshadow releases on April 10th of this year, so very soon. Atomic Picnic is a third-person roguelike shooter by Bitcake Studio. I'm gonna guess that this game will have an emphasis on co-op, and that's for 2 reasons. 1, why would you host a picnic by yourself? And 2, the amount of enemies that this game spawns in the early game can get absurd. Unlike other co-op shooters, there are no designated classes. Instead, you have 4 weapons to choose from: assault rifle, shotgun, grenade launcher, and sniper rifle. There are no tanks, there are no healers, there are no spies, and there are no engineers. Everyone's goal is to deal damage. Also, this game does 2 things that I have yet to have seen any other game do. First, there is no manual reload. Pressing R on your keyboard does nothing. Instead, your ammo reloads over time. And second, your jump is a grappling hook that has a cooldown. This took me some time to get used to, and if you are not a fan of these ideas, then let the dev team know. Your feedback is vital towards their development. Shady Knight is a first-person action platformer by Alexei. Other than just being a platformer, this game does share some noticeable similarities with Mario 64. Shady Knight contains a small hub world where you select your level by jumping onto a boat, similar to how you would jump through the paintings in Mario 64. While this game does feature combat, I'd say that it is not the main focus. The game is more focused on momentum, possibly making it a popular game for speedrunning, just like Mario 64. Dungeon Drafters is a tactical roguelike card game by Monolith Studios. I know people who avoid card games due to how luck-based they can be, and I won't deny that luck is still somewhat of a factor in Dungeon Drafters, but even with the bad hand of cards, you can still make the most out of it. This is due to the top-down dungeon crawl aspect of the game. Positioning and understanding the enemy allows you to make the most of what cards you have. Some enemies can only move one space as opposed to two, some enemies can only attack what they visually see in front of them, and then there's these plant enemies that shoot projectile in your general direction, so I want to say that they are sound oriented possibly. My point is that there is more strategy than there is luck in Dungeon Drafters. That will conclude this month's episode of upcoming indie games, and I'll be back with more hidden gems next time. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.